The Merry Pranksters, Chapter 14, Episode 2. The two of us thank him, but exchange a nervous glance as Dickie raises a toast to the day's potential. By the time we pass Limburg, I can't help but notice some groovy vibes floating my way from Lolita's direction. When she's not exchanging snarky barbs with Ginger, I can feel her gaze teasing me like a toe feather through her oversized designer sunglasses. It all started back at the house when she stepped out of my bedroom and caught the end of the duet between Fook and his cinnamon girl. She approached me directly, speaking cryptically about a revolution, and hell followed closely behind her. The strobing white lights from the limo's mirror ball spin from Ginger's stone profile as she tilts her head wistfully towards the window as if to curse at a cloud, before flashing their way over to Lady Lolita. A fallen ash from a burning cigarette causes Ginger to shoot a devious side-eye and say, "Oh, I'm sorry. We wouldn't want to see this pretty little car burst into flames, would we?" In such a way that lets not only her young apprentice, but Smitty the driver in the black tuxedo know she's a powder keg who wields the power of both salvation and damnation. Fook is lounging comfortably on an adjacent sofa when he continues trying to convince Barnes that something is, which isn't. "No, man, I'm telling you, it's no bullshit. This girl was a perfect 10. "Fookie, you are tripping," Barney snaps back at him with a blunt hanging from his mouth. "There ain't no fucking way that Mexican weather girl is a 10. Confusion, bordering on outrage, snaps Fookie's head frantically around the 18-foot Cadillac in search of an ally. I shrug my shoulders along with everyone else as Fookie describes the senorita's bright brown eyes of Athena and booted like a pair of Mexicali maracas. "Look, cuz," Barnes hits the blunt under the black light, and when he passes it, the cherry burns like a glow stick. "Even if that bitch spoke fluent English with just a hint of a sexy Spanish accent, even if she was the only weather bitch on earth to accurately predict the weather, even if she could write haikus and leave them bitches on post-it notes all over your mama's house, she still wouldn't be a 10 because no two people's idea of a 10 is the same. You understand what I'm saying?" Sitting up, into the black light, the dust specks glowing in his blonde hair appear to give him frosted tips. "Hank will always think she could use a few more tattoos, and however old she is, she'd still be way too old for your fat ass, Fookie. It's like this. I've been hooking up with this sexy bitch in the building next to us. She looks just like Nicki Minaj. She got a fat Nicki ass, long ass Nicki nails, you know the routine. She's got this chubby 8-year-old boy who asked me why I hurt his mama's front butt cheek. She don't have no time for bullshit. That bitch is damn near perfect." Fook shakes his head and says she sounds like a real keeper, but insists that that does not make her a perfect 10. That's when Armante leans in so everyone can hear. "Nah, player, on my mama, you need to check your premises. What he mean is, the idea of a perfect 10 is like hypothetical. It's what they call unattainable." The sweeping gold-leafed archway, cast with stained glass windows and romantic mosaics decorating the Grand Hall lounge, makes St. Paul's Cathedral look like Joey's old crack house. With Ginger at his side, looking like a vampire funeral, Fookie snaps a quick selfie with his phone. I was surprised when he started barking orders at the hotel staff like some gay Romanian count, and when the flamboyant waiter runs off, Fookie straightens his posture. He nods at Hank when he tells us, "Don't worry, just let me do the talking." After the first round of drinks arrived, and Candace from Rolling Stone still hadn't shown up, Fook was scowling at Clive, the waiter. After the third round came and we were still not being interviewed, he demanded to speak with the manager. Armante dips over to me to ask if I know what's going on, and I shake my head, telling him, I don't know, man. He said the Irishman's assistant made the reservations, but that must have been a while ago. Don't ask. The point is, I'm out of pill. I don't even know what I don't know right now. Armante is good for a handful of Tylenol 3s with codeine. Not ideal, but it should be enough to chase the demons away until I can score some perks. After a few more rounds, I became distracted by the all-seeing green eye from the wooden pillar in the middle of the ballroom. It's staring hopelessly at a bouquet of white daisies on the table, which remind me of a poem Val once wrote, and eventually, Dickie grabs me to go snort cocaine in the bathroom. When we return, I'm dabbing my nosebleed with a Burberry handkerchief, turning it from beige to a crimson red. I wasn't even speaking directly to Fuki when I interrupted a staring contest between him and Hank to ask if Candace ever showed up. Nonetheless, he turned to aim his gaze in my direction like I just pissed over his grave. He slammed his phone down on the table and behind gritted teeth growled, See, Schultz, this is why people don't like you. For fear that by asking for clarification I would somehow be answering my own question, I remained silent, but that does nothing to slow him down. You know, he starts like he's really about to let me have it. You kind of remind me of a young Howard Stern, even though you don't have the schnoz anymore since the accident. He pauses, finishes his fruity drink, and sighs an exaggerated and satisfied sigh. You know, annoyingly Jewy, but kind of funny. He pauses again, this time for an effect that pays off. Looking. He doesn't wait for the laughter to die down before adding, But seriously, you're not nearly as clever as you think you are. Hell, you probably think that missing little Jew girl is a perfect 10. Fook, Hank says, rescuing me without so much as a nod. First of all, you like what you're told to like. He takes a lap around the table with his eyes until finally falling on Fuki and his condescending smirk. And another thing, that little girl is like our age, so, your fat ass has done a lot worse. When Fuki started this war, eye contact from the table was hard to come by, but now I'm starting to see where Hank is coming from. Even Clive is looking at Hank like he'd like to take his order. You accept ideas into your heart instead of your head, like some kind of zealot. You gotta let those old ideas die and stop being so goddamn gullible. You won't let go of the perfect 10 thing, just like you still believe that Jewish chick was kidnapped. You're like a child who still believes strippers like you. A smile begins to emerge on the big fella's face like that of an erection. A chaffed, vein-filled stiffy that was praying one of the plebs would take the bait. I wouldn't have noticed but for the hubris oozing as he apes the plastic television Ken doll's emotional, intellectual, as well as moral angles almost verbatim about Miss Bethany Shapiro. Although the national saga centers around a missing white chick who happens to be rich, Armante admits he doesn't know much about the story, except it's something about white folks making a fake video. And Barnes cannot wrap his mind around why any warm-blooded man gives a shit about some skinny Jew bitch weak head game. No one in the limo, I don't think, had heard Ben Gaffel's depraved admission yet. None heard his desperate gasp of empty, dying words that were all but a white flag of surrender, draped in smug plastic innuendo. Hank hadn't heard the update either, but he was one of those Philistines who refused to let go of the ancient notion that seeing is believing. He leans in on the table, putting all his weight on the tips of his fingers, and asks Fook if he knows how many federal agents were involved, putting up air quotes around the word kidnapping. Without waiting for a response, he answers, 10. The answer is 10. Out of the 11 kidnappers, all but one of those marauding band of white supremacists was an FBI agent, and the other cat was some mentally retarded Star Wars nerd. He says this and then pauses before finishing. But sure, If you still think she was kidnapped, even though we've all seen her tarting it up in every club in Mexico, I don't know what to tell you. And I don't have the fucking crayons to explain it. Clive delivers the next round of drinks without making eye contact. Dickie thanks him when he sets his white Russian down with a trembling hand, but Fuki gives him a look that says to walk away immediately, and he may live to serve the next round. Sipping his Caucasian, Dickie asks no one in particular a question. I heard him ask it. I heard him ask if we'd ever heard of zombie snails, but I had assumed I misheard him. It's my delirium, I thought, and nothing more. But when I saw the look on Armante's face, I knew I had heard him correctly.